Hello and a very happy Halloween to you all. Um, I'm back with this video to basically give you some of my personal recommendations for what films to watch over this Halloween weekend. Um, you may have seen them before, you may not have, but it's just what I love to watch. Hopefully, it gives you some ideas. Or some additions to watch. So let's get on with it. So there's no real order to this. I'm just going to go through some of my favourite films. Um, some of them are franchise titles, some are more obscure, some are iconic. Um, so basically, um, if you're looking for something really out of the ordinary, Um, I like to watch some of the films from the silent era. So you've got titles like Nosferatu, which is an absolutely fantastic film. It's German expressionistic um, fil- film starring Max Schreck as Count Orlok. Um, and to go along with that, um, for a similar take, but in a different style. The 1979 remake, starring Klaus Kinski. And if you want to completely balls to the wall, absolutely other take, watch Shadow of the Vampire, which is it's basically like a making of dramatization crossed with a horror film, with a vampire film. It's essentially Willem Dafoe plays Max Schreck, but done in a way that imagines Shrek as an actual living vampire. So them three um, are all interlinked. Nosferatu from 1922, the expressionistic silent film, and Nosferatu the Vampire from 1979, which is a loose remake of it, done in a talkie style, and then Shadow of the Vampire. Another along the lines of the expressionist films is Das Cabinet de Dr. Caligari, or in English, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. That's from the early 20s as well. That's another expressionism movie. It's really, really good. So some of the set displays are really out there. Um, and it's just a really enjoyable film. But again, you've got to be really keen on watching something from the sound era. Um, if we're going a bit further on, The Phantom of the Opera from 1925, starring the legendary Man of a Thousand Faces, Lon Chaney. Um, it's it's just a fantastic film. Um, the actual makeup work on Chaney is just sensational. Gives him sort of like a Scully effect. And what sells the film actually is, for the most part, is in black and white, but there's a scene in the middle where the Phantom is wearing this like sort of skull mask, and for a party, and that whole party sequence is actually done in colour, um, which was very rare at the time for films to be in colour. And then if you want to move on to the Universal Monsters era, you've got all the classics, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon. But if you want a different take, I'd go with some of the sequels to those films. So you've got like House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, um, Revenge of the Creature, The Return of the I think there's an Invisible Man sequel, can't remember. There's loads of Mummy sequels. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Um, can't remember. Mind's gone blank. And while we're on the subject of the monsters, I'd go with some of the Hammer horror films from around that time, from the 50s going into 60s. So you've got again Dracula, the Mummy, the Frankenstein films with Peter Cushing. Um, all the Dracula films are really good. My personal favourite isn't the original Dracula from 1958. It's actually one of the, I think it's the first or second sequel, Prince of Darkness. That is actually the best one, in my opinion. With all that said, just a couple of days ago, I watched The Satanic Rites of Dracula, which is one of the last ones, and that one was really good as well. Um, some of the B movies, if you want something just really cheesy, so you've got films like The Blob with Steve McQueen, um, Them about giant killer ants. Um, you've got B movies that are my taste, but might be yours. Um, I'm not a big Spadler, but Tarantula gets talked up a lot. Um, and so many dozens other. Um, and then you've got the master of the horror, the thriller, Alfred Hitchcock with his films. Um, everyone knows about the likes of Psycho, The Bird, Vertigo, Rear Window, North by Northwest. Um, where else to go? You may have seen my last update video talking about the Giallo films. So you've got films by Umberto Lenzi, Dario Argento, Mario Bava. Uh, they're absolutely films to check out. Particularly Argento. Argento done his own take on Phantom of the Opera. Um, Lucio Fulci, another Giallo master. And then you go into like the 70s and 80s with the rise of the slasher films. So you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, um, Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave. Not so much a film I'd personally recommend. I wasn't a fan of it. Of course, the most famous one, Halloween. Going to the 80s, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Phantasm, um, Hellraiser, Child's Play, all them films. If you want my particular take on them big franchises, for Halloween, it's got to be the original. Although I do have a lot of love for Season of the Witch, which is a completely different take away from the whole Michael Myers story. Um, for Halloween, uh, Friday the 13th, um, part 3 is where you see Jason wear the iconic mask for the first time. Plus, it's in 3D if you're able to watch it in 3D. But for me, the final chapter, which is part 4, that is the best of the series for me. Again, Nightmare on Elm Street. The original is still the king, but for me, I just love Dream Warriors. It's from the soundtrack by Dokken to having the best kills. I mean, in just that one film alone, you get um, one of the main kids killed off in like a marionette where he plunges to his death. Um, Another gets injected with needles that replace Freddy's razor glove. Um, of course, the most favourite one, my favourite kill of all time, the Welcome to Primetime head through the TVs kill. Um, for Hellraiser, I've not really seen too much of the sequels, so it's the first film for me. Um, Child's Play, again, the first film, although I do love the um, we moved away from the Child's Play branding into the Chucky branding. So, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, um, all really, really fun films. Um, Sticking with the 80s, the Evil Dead films. If you've not seen them, why haven't you seen them? They are amazing. You've got the pure horror of Evil Dead 1, the remake going into comedy of Evil Dead 2, and the pure horror comedy of Army of Darkness. The 2013 remake is fantastic, and if you want to like binge on a TV show, Ash vs Evil Dead is incredible. Um, and there's so many other. The 80s were the time of these sort of cheesy slasher films, teen films, all that era is probably one of the best decades for horror films. If you move into the 90s, you've got Scream films. Um, and if you're looking more modern, um, I'm not too I'm not too big a fan on modern horror, but the Child's Play remake slash reboot, that was pretty good. Um, any the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, again that was really good. Just ignore the prequels to that and Texas Chainsaw. Ugh. Um, what else? Get Out by Jordan Peele. That is an amazing film. Um, yeah, so trying to think some more monster films. The technically it's very loose to fit them in for horror, but um, you got sort of like the original, the best, the King Kong from 1933. That is a film that is 87 years old this year, and some of the practical and stop motion effects still hold up. Is that good a film? Um, Again, on the same lines, the original Godzilla, or Gojira as it was known, from 1954. In fact, any of the kaiju films I would recommend, just for a little bit of a fun take. Or if you're looking for more, um, a few stories in one, you can't go wrong with some of the anthology films. So you've got the likes of um, Creepshow 2, uh, Nightmares, Dead Time Stories, which I just watched for the first time at the weekend a couple of weeks ago. Uh, where else? Tales of Halloween. Just watched that for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Um, Trick or Treat. That's another fantastic one. So yeah, uh, as I, as I said, these are just some of my recommendations. You may have ones of your own. Indeed, let me know down below in the comments what films you will be watching, or any you recommend for that I can maybe pick up for future Halloween seasons. Um, but most importantly in all, stay safe this Halloween. I know it's going to be a completely different Halloween nights, Halloween weekends because of the pandemic and everything that's going on with that in the world. So, what I'd say is, if you're with someone for Halloween, enjoy yourselves. Don't eat too much candy, but just kick back, few drinks, sweets, treats, whatever, and enjoy horror at its finest. So that is it for me for now. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, comment down below on your horror recommendations, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.